What's up, bowling fans? We have the one, the only Mr. Sean Rash today. And if that wasn't enough, we also have Lucas Wiseman. Look at him. There he is. There he is.
Good afternoon, everybody.
We got big timers on the show today. Sean's with us. Lucas is here. You know, you can listen to me talk too. But we're super pumped to have you, Sean.
I'm excited to be here finally.
So,
since all the things you guys have been doing for the PBA, all the other sports you guys work with, it's pretty cool to be back in Austin. There's so much fun stuff to do here in this city, good food, and definitely some entertaining places in the city to hang out. So.
Yeah, so this is your, I appreciate the kind words. This is your second time in Austin. You did it right the first time. You think you got another
yeah,
round
I definitely
in you?
did it right the first time because I was 24
Yeah.
and not married and no kids and irresponsible. So I don't know if I'll be that same person today.
We'll see.
Or tonight. But no, I love Austin. Texas is a great state. A lot of great bowlers from this area. And looking forward to the rest of the day.
Nice. Okay, first things first. I'm excited that we have Lucas here because he can weigh in too. It's called Going Brooklyn. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I called them Jersey Strikes. Bill O'Neill had my back. He's the only one who's had my back. Is it a Brooklyn or a Jersey?
Well, it's because you guys are both from the East Coast.
See? East Coast is the best coast. Bill, I hope you're watching.
Well, I grew up in Alaska, which is not even considered the West Coast.
Yeah, but
so,
what is that? The wilderness?
It's
What kind of coast is that? Is that Russian? Is that the Russian coast?
Yeah,
Is that
probably.
What that is?
I mean, I don't say Brooklyn or Jersey just because you're not supposed to go on that side of the lane.
No, it's not
But
typically
it's a lucky strike.
ideal. Okay,
Yeah.
so lucky strike.
Yeah.
Lucas, what are you? I don't think we've
Oh,
ever.
it's Brooklyn all the way.
So
I
Lucas-
live in Pennsylvania, and I've never heard anybody here call it a Jersey.
Well, you're
Except
you're
for
in
you.
Western Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, like the
That's true.
East Coast.
That's true.
You're wrong, Lucas. Is what we're saying.
Nobody's going to be right but her.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
See,
usually the case.
we've
Well,
been,
I've learned. I've been married longer than you have, and you'll learn.
and your wife and I have the same name actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So he just knows. He defaults to Sarah's are correct. Like that's
Always.
that's what his default is. So you're a big deal. You have 13 PBA titles, 11 standard, 2 major. You have 2 major titles, and let's see if we can get this up. You were Player of the Year in 2011, 2012. We have that photo. Yeah, there he is. Accept an award from Tom Clark. So I don't know. I guess what's your career is still young. I would say you're a veteran now, but what kind of sticks out to you in your career?
There's 3 or 4 moments that stick out more than anything. Definitely Player of the Year. When your peers vote on you, that they felt like you had a dominating season. Winning my first title with my dad in the crowd. The first major at Miller Park. Shooting 300 2 different times in 2 different facilities. One being at Woodland Bowl, where Jim Doty is just one of the best hosts ever. Great family and have hosted tournaments for the PBA for 20 years plus. Those are some of the biggest moments. And then just recently helping someone win their first title with Matt Ogle in the doubles this year in Oklahoma.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. Like, I definitely want to get your perspective on winning a title for yourself, but like, what's it like to partner with someone who's never won a title and then have him achieve that?
Just
what was
lifelong dreams. Watching someone perform under pressure like he did in qualifying and then even in match play, and then just the television show itself. We committed to each other staying on the same lane. I was the whole match, or the whole TV show, regardless if we won or lost. We knew that he was going to have to bowl the 10th frame multiple times, just because people wanted to put the rookie in under the pressure.
Yeah.
And this kid, I say he's about my age, kid on tour because he's somewhat new.
Sure.
Just was enjoying it, and it was so much fun to watch. And I grabbed his son as soon as we had won, to watch him embrace his family like I did, and just kind of stepped back and just watched it all over. And that's why I was so emotional. I was that same way 14 years ago when I saw my dad in the crowd and was crying. And I'm an emotional guy anyway. So, and now he's in the PBA TSC forever as long as he wants to bowl, and regardless if he ever wins again, he can always say he's a PBA Tour champion.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
You guys
awesome.
got emotional just after the position round, even. Like
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
after the position round, you guys there were tears were flying.
Yeah, just multiple reasons. For me individually, it's just my worst year in 2018 ever on tour. It seemed like not winning for 6 years. Watching him achieve that lifelong goal of just being on television, it's pretty exciting. It's a completely different atmosphere than qualifying and match play, and just all the hard work that I've put back into it individually to be one of the better players on tour again. And because you hear in the background sometimes he's not relevant anymore, he's not good anymore, and whatnot. And getting a little bit older, being 37 here in a couple months, but the injuries that I've battled, a hand injury, a knee injury, a lower back injury, my piriformis, which is in your butt, which really hurts. It's hard to slide.
You're getting an anatomy lesson.
Yeah, it's a lot of athletes don't like to admit being injured because they don't want anybody to know that they have the advantage. And to me, it's normal.
It happens. It happens to everybody. Everybody's battling that.
Correct. So it was nice to see some hard work paying off with the exercising and the practicing a different way, and proving all those people wrong that didn't have any faith or belief in me anymore.
Yeah, I think we got a picture of them. I think we got a picture of them. We have a picture of Matt and Sean with there they are. Look at those smiling mugs. Lucas, go ahead. What were we gonna ask?
Yeah, Sean, is it more rewarding to win a title with somebody else than it is by yourself?
Yeah, I learned a long time ago at Wichita State. It's a lot better to win as a team, and doubles, trios, whatever the case is. Even some of my time at Team USA, being lucky enough to bowl for our country, that the satisfaction of picking each other up when somebody bowls a bad game or a bad shot, and just knowing that they're in your corner. And that whole week with Matt, through qualifying, I was able to make the singles portion of the qualifying, and he had just missed out. But he stuck around and watched me bowl the singles portion the next couple days. We had communicated every day of what bowling balls still looked good as the week went on. He was kind of like my extra ball rep to help try to push me onto the singles show, and it kept him comfortable with what was going on in the building and how guys were attacking him. He got to practice in between blocks as well on that Thursday, Friday, and he stayed somewhat sharp, to be ready up for Saturday in the match play.
So it was a really close match between Matt, you, and then Brad and Kyle. Like, walk us through kind of that championship match. I mean, you beat him by 3 pins, right?
13, I think.
13?
I think it was 213 to 200. But I started off with a 4-9 to start the game. Kyle Sherman bowled exceptionally well in the right lane. I think he struck 4 of the 5 times. I think Brad went through the nerve station, or whatever you want to call it, for the first time being on TV, and doesn't want to let your opponent down, or your teammate down. Matt had a couple shots that were a little bit errant in the middle. We had hit the pocket quite a bit, and then I saw it 8 in the 9th. And I think the turning point more than anything was when when Brad missed the 4-pin in the 8th frame. It kind of gave us a little bit of a breathing room where if we filled frames, it was going to be tough to be beaten. I think Matt was a little nervous the first shot in the 10th,
sure.
Needing 8 pins to secure it. We kept telling each other certain things, I would tell him, head down, focus on your target. He was always saying, hey, give me the best shot you got. And when I was on the approach, I was like, all right, 1 shot for your teammate. That's all that matters. So a back and forth match, could have gone either way. I think the missed spare, which I'm just as guilty as that. For multiple times I've missed many spares on TV, but that kind of turned the table for us to stay on top of them and keep the pressure on them more than anything.
Yeah. So you talked about a missed spare. You come in to the season with that high, you win doubles, and then you're the number 1 seed in the next event, and you held that seed, and you just needed a 10-pin. So kind of walk us through kind of the high of winning that doubles with Matt, and then like you said, like sometimes you just miss spares, and walk us through that 10-pin.
It's a long way away.
Yeah.
When you let go of that bowling ball and you know you're going to miss it. I actually thought I was going to braze it, just barely touch it and knock it over. When I let go, I rushed myself, was so excited that really I've shot him so many times that this was nothing.
Yeah, it's
right?
a 10-pin. Like, how many times have you shot a 10-pin in practice, right?
I shot them a whole bunch today, actually. Yeah. So, you can be on a high for so long. You look at what Norm Duke did there back-to-back weeks this year, what Belmo's done for a couple of years now, when he's really on a high mostly through the majors, where you just get focused and your distractions become very small.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that I threw it great. I thought I struck to win more than anything. And then I was like, okay, just make the spare. And then I missed it. I was like, well, I still have 3 options or 3 opportunities realistically to win this tournament. And unfortunately, all 3 things went wrong for me in the 10th frame.
Yes.
The missed spare, the rolled 2-pin, and then the shot through the 10th. And for all the people that listening and all the people that said that Dick didn't get lucky, they're just ask him. He'll tell you. Yeah. He's not afraid to admit it, and I'm not afraid to say he did get lucky, but he also, took advantage of the opportunity that his opponent gave him. And as a player, like even when we're bowling matches, if you go open, you always think your next 2 shots that you're going to watch your opponent throw are going to be strike, and now you're behind again. Right. And that happens a lot. And I had no doubt in my mind that Dick was going to throw a couple shots, and they were either going to hit the pocket and strike or not. And wasn't my day. Unfortunately, it just wasn't my day.
I remember as a fan, I was at Highland. I was bowling that Sunday, and they had it on in the bar, and I just stayed and watched. And it was just this like roller coaster, right? Like, because you had it, you just needed the 10-pin, you missed the 10-pin, and I don't remember which order Dick's strikes happened in, but like I think he was super light on one, and then he went through the nose, and it was just like the rolling 2-pin, and I was just like, what is happening right now? This is compelling television. Like it was a very exciting. You came out on the unfortunate end of it, but it was very exciting. Like I remember thinking like this is really exciting sport. Like this is great.
Yeah, one thing that I was told when I made my first show, Dave Schroeder said, be you, do whatever you want, say whatever you want. And he might not remember that, but
Dave, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Sean's gonna hold you to it.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, but we are entertainers. Yes, we're bowling for a title. Yeah, we're bowling for money, just like other sports are shooting basketballs right now for championships and the hockey pucks and everything. But we're supposed to put on a show. And for those 2 frames, that both our 10th frame, and my 10th frame and his 10th frame, and that 5 minutes on TV was a hell of an entertainment
yes, it was.
Moment in our sport. And I took the backside of it, of course, finished in second, but and Dick, went on the win. But that was pretty entertaining. Even as a competitor in the moment, I was like, holy, that's...
You can say holy shit. That's okay.
Yeah, wow.
Because that's what I said. I was like, man, this is really good television. Go ahead, Lucas.
Have you watched that show back? Like, do you know what went wrong on that 10-pin that caused you to miss
I've watched it many times, especially thanks to PR and replays. And I mean, I watched it that night after going to dinner just down the road from the bowling center. It was on at 10 o'clock that night, replaying, and the guy next to me couldn't believe that it was me on TV and I was eating. And I go, don't worry, it gets really good, and then it sucks. So yeah, I just rushed it. I got on the approach a little too fast. I was too excited about, oh my God, I just won a tournament, and oh my God, I just lost the tournament.
And everybody, we have a clip. No, we don't.
Yeah, go ahead and play it.
No, we
I'd
actually
love
don't.
To see it.
We don't. So yeah, so I'm wondering, how, it was obviously a tough loss, but still, you went 1-2 back to back. So how has that maybe framed the rest of your season? And we still have a lot of season left. We have this whole summer season.
Yeah, no, it was one. It made the swing a little bit looser. Financially, got some money in the bank, maybe able to buy some diapers and some wipes, and let my wife do the shopping that she, does so many things at home. But taking care of the kids while I'm gone. But the whole goal at the beginning of the year was to make the top 8 in the PBA playoffs, and be in the top 16 for the PBA Japan Cup, and hopefully stay in the top 8 for the PBA Tour Finals, which I just fell out of because I bowled awful at the World Series and just missed the cut at the Masters. So those were the main goals, and there's goals every year to win, be in contention for majors, be in contention for Player of the Year, which now it's down to realistically 2 people, Jason
sure.
and Jacob, and realistically Anthony Simonson. So I checked off a bunch of bucket list items for the goals of 2018, and the first 2 of the first 3 weeks of the tour season, and there's still so many more things left. There's now the summer tour coming up with 8 or 9 events. There's another bucket list of items of top 8 for China, top 8 for the FloBowling Austin event, top 5 for the USBC. Make a couple step ladders, hopefully win a couple titles. But now and that'll come through, the rest of the goals. But 2 of the 4 or 5 things that were on my list to accomplish this year have already been done.
Yeah, and you mentioned your wife, you mentioned your daughter. So we got some photos of the family. It's a good-looking bunch. That photo you said that was the Wolf Open?
That's the PBA Wolf Open
Yeah.
in Oklahoma, 2013, I believe.
And Kaylee's just a little nugget there.
She's very, very young.
Yeah.
Now there in that photo, Detroit, she would have been
Detroit, yeah.
3 or 4 years old. But the first one was special because I shot 300 that first game against Chris Loshitter, ran the step ladder, beat some phenomenal players, Martin Larson, Mike Fagan, and then I beat Chris Barnes in the championship match.
Yeah, he's a big deal too. He's a big deal.
A little older.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, if you're watching.
Hall of Famer, one of the best our game's ever going to see. And he's still got plenty of years left, of course.
Yeah.
And then the second photo there in Detroit, winning back-to-back titles in Detroit at the Fall Swing in 2016 was a nice couple week stretch for me. Bowled really good in Detroit. Then I went down to Columbia with Team USA and won some gold medals with our country for our country and myself individually. But it was a good couple months stretch there for me.
Yeah, and I think we got one more of the fam. There's a new one.
Yep, this is recent. My wife just sent me this picture the other day. We've gone to this lady a couple different times, Wigglebug Photography in DeKalb. This lady's awesome.
Look it up.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. You could go to Facebook and check it out. She's been awarded some cool things. But my wife and my 2 daughters there just did a follow-up photo shoot with my baby there, Olivia, basically sitting on her butt and standing up. So, and then my oldest, Kaylee, and then my beautiful wife, Sarah.
So obviously,
so you realize you're outnumbered 3-1 now, right?
Well, it's actually 3-2. I have a dog, boy.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, we don't have a photo of the...
No, yeah.
Well, you need some support in the household, so that's fair. I'm assuming Olivia, the baby, is already killing it on the lanes. But are anybody else in the family a bowler?
Yeah, everybody bowls. It seems like I started bowling because of mom and dad up in Alaska. They would bowl Tuesday night as a couple. Dad would bowl the men's league on Friday night, and then Dad started bowling Wednesday and Sunday, the adult junior with me, so he was bowling 4 nights a week. Sarah's parents bowled back in the day. Her dad still bowls. Her brother now bowls with us on a league on Tuesday night. We have a group of 4 or 5 couples that bowl. Our team name's called the Rotating Partners, and we bowl, once every couple weeks, based on our schedules and whatnot. So. And now her mom and stepdad Jeff are just starting to get into it and do it for fun every now and then on the weekends. So everyone in our family bowls right now, and it's nice to be able to kind of watch them bowl and whatnot. My dad bowls a senior league with my mom on Thursdays now at Parkside, and so I'll get to watch them bowl every now and then when I'm home.
Nice. I want to let you know that you got some fan love coming in on Facebook. Danny particularly here wants to know why you haven't done those commercials like you did in the 2000s.
Well, all you got to do is ask Dave Schroeder why I haven't done the spandex 1980s commercial with the wig.
He told you to be yourself.
Yeah,
he told you to be
did.
yourself. So Dave, what are you doing, man?
That was an interesting photo shoot. Those were the worst pants I ever wore.
Or the best.
Yeah.
Dan seems to have liked them.
Apparently.
But so you mentioned your parents bowling in Anchorage, Alaska. And, what was growing up in Alaska like?
Cold.
I'm gonna dub it the Russian coast now that I said that from earlier.
Cold, but no, it was great. I didn't like to play football. Didn't know how to skate. I wasn't the outdoor type athlete kind of thing. I played baseball, but the weather is normally pretty good when you play baseball.
Yeah. I would imagine baseball in Alaska is pretty difficult to get. You have 2 months?
About
maybe?
3.
Okay.
Now it's even better because it doesn't, the climate change and everything through the years have changed so much. But the bowling thing was easy. It was cheaper.
Yeah.
I could bike to the bowling center. I washed bowling pins for free games. Worked in the pro shop to get free bowling balls. I basically did everything you could think of in a bowling center besides mechanic and deal with the cash register.
Oh wow.
Just because I didn't want to.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Were you behind the? Were you behind the bar?
Oh no. Well, I mean.
Okay. All right. Well, that's another thing.
Yeah,
So.
I was behind the bar, but not legally. Yeah, it just, all I wanted to do was bowl. I had a brother growing up, he bowled a little bit when I was younger, so I'd watch him bowl, and then he decided to do some other things, and I kept bowling. And it was an easy job. I started winning some scholarships. I got pretty good. I won the Coca-Cola Championships for the state of Alaska 4 times.
Nice.
So I got to travel a little bit to the lower 48 and compete against the really good kids down here. But then I learned about school. I met Gordon Vatican in 1998 at the Coca-Cola Championships in Houston, Texas, where I led and then lost to a kid from South Africa.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I can actually go to school and save my parents some money and go see what the real world's like. I didn't want to live at home my whole life. So it was really, really different. Loved to fish in the summer with Dad. It was one of his hobbies. Loved to do it. I mean, you could fish all day long. I didn't start playing golf until I got to college, and I remember going back home one time. I teed off at 11 o'clock at night. I played 9 holes.
Because was it the
was
time of
light
the year
all
where
day
it was
long.
light all
Yeah.
day long?
So, and then some of the fishing trips I'll never forget is Dad and I would go down at after dinner, and we'd fish till 6 or 7 in the morning, and whether you catch your fish or not, you'd come home, you don't know what time it is, and you just would sleep, and then you'd go right back out. So
Life in Alaska, folks.
A little different.
Well, your family, your family is obviously very important to you, whether it's your parents or your wife and your daughters. How did becoming a father change you?
Oh, multiple ways. The responsibilities, not going out at night all the time. I go to the casino plenty. Not going to that as much.
Yeah.
Just understanding that there's other people that are relying on you all the time. What my wife does, I don't know how any mother or wife does it. If you're listening, God bless you. God bless all you moms out there to do laundry and do dishes and breastfeed and wash bottles and somehow vacuum the house and then pay the bills and you name it. Oh my goodness, I don't know how they do it.
Props, Sarah.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying right now. Huge props.
I was home, after my last couple-week trip to Asia. I was home I took 12 days off. Everyone thinks that's a long time, and it felt really long. But I was doing yard work and trying to clean house, and I didn't get everything done, so I kind of feel bad that I didn't, but I got a few things done. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm exhausted just listening to you talk about it.
It's one of those things I kind of wish. I shouldn't say this. It's kind of nice being on the road because I get to take a nap, and she doesn't. It's one of those things. She just doesn't get to take the nap like I do during the day. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how you moms and wives do it, but I'm very, very grateful and very lucky.
Shout out to all the moms and the wives out there. Well, yeah. Okay. So you mentioned one of your goals for the beginning half of the season was making the PBA playoffs. You've made it. We're not going to give you any spoilers. No spoilers. We don't need a spoiler alert. We're not going to spoil anything. But you took down Kyle Sherman in the round of 16.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on Kyle's potential? You had him in the doubles with Brad, and then you faced him again in the playoffs.
Yeah, Kyle's got so much potential. I was going to say room for improvement, but there's just a little bit of room of improvement. That's just for him to win. More than anything, the kid has become a star real quick after a surgery that he's dealt with his hip, I believe it was, that he was out for a while.
Major surgery, like a big time surgery.
And to see him bowling as well as he is, and he just finished second in a regional to Pete Weber a couple weeks ago. He's just got to learn a couple things. And realistically, it's just learning how to win. EJ Taggart went through the same thing about 5-6 years ago, where EJ was a force, but everyone couldn't wait to bowl him on television because he couldn't beat anybody. And now that he's learned to beat everybody on tour and win on matches, EJ's a threat every single week. And And Kyle's that threat every week that he just hasn't learned to win yet. And that just takes time. It's just you got to wait for that door to open, whether it's me missing a spare and letting him win a match or
Happens.
Somebody else doing it. And, the kids, I told him after I shook his hand, I said, you're going to be, it's a pleasure to bowl you this round, first and foremost, and your potential and your future is extremely bright. And hopefully I get the best of him more often than not when we compete against each other on TV shows, but he's going to be really good for a long time.
Yeah, and
how does it make you feel with these all these young guys coming in, Sean? They're not getting any younger, and it seems like it's just a wave after wave of these college kids that are coming in to bowl on the tour. It just gets harder and harder, I would guess, right?
Yeah, Lucas asked about like all the young guns coming in, like so how do you feel like with all the young guys coming in, all the college kids, the tour is just getting younger and young. Like I said, your career's still young, but you are.
I'm old now.
Well,
I didn't
say
life.
it. He said it.
It's fine.
Lucas is older than you, so it doesn't matter.
No, I remember being the young gun, Lucas. It was nice to feel that way and go out all night, come in the morning and bowl and no issues and not worry about sleep and everything else. But these kids, Kyle and Brad, young guns, Anthony Simonson, who's been out there forever, it seems like now, even though he's only 22.
Right.
Kyle Troop, Andrew Anderson. It's exciting to watch. Our sport's in good hands, and our future is bright for the next decade with a lot of talent, a lot of diversity. Jacob Butterf, I think he's in his 20s still. He's left-handed, so you've got a mixture of lefties and righties, traditionalists. You got a couple two-handers that people don't love and sometimes do love, but I've gotten a chance to meet, or not meet, but hang out with quite a few of them over the last year and a half or so, doing clinics all over the world. I've broadened our horizon by inviting players from Ebonite and players from Storm and players from Motive, players from Brunswick to embrace the game and the change and the youngness of them, and they're good. They know how to interact with people. They're really good coaches. They're fun to be around. It's helped me over the last 6 months kind of feel young again too, like spending all night with them, and when they're kind of like when we're having a couple drinks and they feel like I'm ready for bed. I'll go to bed earlier than most of them, but I can keep up with the beverages if I need to.
Attaboy. Good for you.
But it's been so much fun. We went to Korea last year. I took Andrew, Anthony, EJ, Jason Sterner. We just got back in Asia. It was myself and Dom, Kyle Troop, and Andrew. I'm missing one. I feel bad that I'm missing one, but and the people love it. It's not just about ball manufacturers anymore, and that's what it needs to be. It needs to be about growing the game one player at a time. And if they want to go buy a ball because they love EJ Tackett or Kyle Troop or myself, then they go buy that ball because of that. But we want to coach to teach them some things and make them want to love bowling more and get some of their friends and family to bowl some more.
It's interesting you bring up the balls because there are a lot of important things happening on this comment thread on Facebook, and I want to make sure that I get to all of them. But one of the first things was asking why don't you use any of the conspiracy balls, because they mentioned that Walter Ray was having a huge amount of success in the PBA 50 tour. And then we'll get to some other really important things that are happening here. But I thought that was an interesting question.
Yeah, so I'm able, being a Brunswick staffer, I'm able to throw Brunswick, Deviate, and Radical bowling balls, and they're all legal on the PBA tour. I just haven't had much success with the Conspiracy or the Conspiracy Pearl. I have them. I just don't throw them. I would prefer to throw the balls that I see going down the lane that fits my eye. Just doing some ball testing over the last couple days, if I gave you 20 different bowling balls with no logos on them, and 5 of them are from Storm, Ebonite, Motive, and Brunswick, you're going to like one from Brunswick and from Storm and Ebonite and Motive, and you're going to hate one from Brunswick, Storm, Ebonite, and Motive, and then you're going to have one that's like, oh, okay, this could be a benchmark ball. But because they start putting logos on them, people start to get on that jumping train of, oh, I'm a Storm fan because all of their balls smell good or all of them roll good. Well, I can promise you, no offense to Storm, and same thing with Ebonite, is we make good balls and we make decent balls and we make bad balls. But at the same time, those bad balls might be bad for me, but they're really good for my teammate, Jason Sterner, or Thomas Smallwood, or Matt Ogle. And it's all about what your game is, your rev rate, your ball speed, one-handed, two-handed, what you're bowling on. Every bowling ball does the same thing. It goes 60 feet down the lane and knocks down some pins. So one of the best things that we've done through coaching, and I got this from Rick Benoit years ago, was we would take Norm Duke playing first arrow. If you put bowling balls down the whole lane playing first arrow, at 45 feet, the ball starts to turn and go towards the pocket. Well, then if you took Robert Smith or the two-handers, letting it down at 35, at 45 feet, that ball is pretty much the same spot at where Norm Duke's ball was. So the last 10 to 20 feet of the lane, the bowling balls are doing the same. It doesn't matter if it's a Brunswick, Storm, Ebonite, or Motive bowling ball. It's just how you attack it. Yeah. And again, we all make great product. We're going to make bad product because it's part of life. I mean, if you look at the jeans you wear, some jeans are comfortable, some jeans are awful, and some have holes in them, and people still wear them, and they think it's flashy and cool. So,
you saying you're not a fan of jeans with holes in them? Is that what you just said?
Not anymore.
So you got an anatomy lesson from Sean earlier, and you just got fashion tip.
Yeah, I'm not a very good fashion person either, I guess.
No, what are you talking about? That's a great looking shirt.
Yeah.
I think that Sean's comments on bowling balls there lead into a question that I wanted to ask today.
Yeah, go for it.
Sean, if everybody on the PBA tour had to throw the exact same bowling ball, there's no logo, no ball companies, and you could only use one ball, how different would the tour be?
Extremely different. Guys that are shot makers would dominate, I think, more often because their spare shooting is way above par compared to the ones that spray and pray. I think the rule change that's coming up with the two-handers and the no weight holes are going to slow some things down for the two-handers eventually. Not a lot, but it's going to change down how their ball motion is. You know, they use those weight holes for slowing the ball down more than anything. If you've noticed, what a lot of the top players in the world have done is they've actually started eliminating putting those weight holes in so they can get ready for this. There's a big thing coming up. I'm pretty sure the player committee is going to ask the PBA that to start the no hole thing the beginning of January 1st when our season starts next year for 2020, because you can't have in my mind, this is how I would vote, but you can't have a rule change in the middle of a season.
Sure.
That's a huge rules change. 8 months of throw whatever ball you want, and then for the next 4 months, do whatever you want. Now, if there's no tournaments at all from August 1st to January 1st of 2021, then it's a moot point. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sort of summer events. Even though the U.S. Open's moved into February, they've got some talking to do.
So you mentioned two-handers and the weight holes, and so I think Lucas and I are curious what your take is on two-handed bowling.
Well, I've never been a fan of it because I'm a traditionalist as well. But at the same time, when they let go, there's only one hand on the ball. The biggest, Walter's talked about it a little bit. Their backswing doesn't get as high as a traditionalist does. They kind of carry it a different way. As a one-hander, I use my second hand on the ball when I start. I think that the injuries, it's proven. Oscu's been injured for multiple years. Mm-hmm. Belmo won't ever probably admit if he's been injured or not, and maybe he will, but I'm sure he's dealt with some issues with his knees and his hips. You never got to worry about your thumb, of course, but I think if it was a 30-week tour like it used to be, I don't know if the two-handers could keep up because of the torque and the pressure of what they're going through, and that's why you see guys take time off. Jason was a great example this year. He took a couple tournaments off because he didn't want to be on the road as much, but maybe because he didn't want to wear and tear his body down. And he had a lot of success for it, so maybe he did the right thing. Maybe some of us should have taken some more weeks off. But Oscu's been injured quite a bit through the years with his arm and his back and his legs, and you could see the perception change of. It's been about 4 or 5 years, but Belmo was one of the focal points, and so was Oscu. Bill, myself, we all started working out a little bit differently, eating differently, going to bed at a different time. The week in Detroit when I won 2 titles, I worked out every single day, and that was kind of when I first started. Like, this actually matters. I need my legs under me. Yeah. But every single day I worked out for 7-8 days straight, and I ended up winning 2 titles. Oh, well, there's something to this maybe.
Yeah. Cool. Like I said, there's important things going on. So you got a ton of fan love going on. I want to mention that Danny, our friend Danny from earlier, he actually shared one of those videos on Facebook in the Facebook comments, so you can take a look at that at your leisure. Tom Doherty joined. Hey Tom, how you doing, man? And most importantly, your wife gave you a little shout out.
Uh-oh.
She said, I've got a nice break coming up in July thanks to my wonderful husband setting up a girls trip for me and my friends.
Yeah, I can't.
And then two, very important, 2 dancing lady emojis. So
I guess she wants to go to a club that night. I don't know. But,
that's what we're going to take it as. Sorry, Sarah. That's what we're taking it as.
Yeah. No, I just set up something for her. She's wanted to get a girls' weekend away for a while, and I took the initiative to contact a few of her friends, and they're going to go have a weekend of wine, July 5th, 6th, and 7th, and they're going to leave out the afternoon of the 4th. But so they'll have a weekend of wine, and there's a concert close by. I don't know if they're going to want to do that yet, but they'll be able to pamper themselves a little bit, and then I have a surprise for them on that Sunday, July 7th. That I'll tell her a little bit more once the surprise actually shows up in the mail and I can hand it to her.
He's going to tell me and Lucas after the show, and we'll keep it.
No.
He's like, no, we're not doing that.
No secrets.
What else we got here? You talked a little bit about urethane, two-handed balls. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on urethane.
I'm not a big fan of that either.
See? Nailed it.
So it's one of those things. I look at, everyone always likes to compare our sport to golf. And what golf did in the early 2000s was they eliminated the blades on the golf club. And because talking to our friend Woody that I knew from Wichita, players were just hitting it a mile because they had, these blades, they could hit it out of the rough anytime they wanted. And it came back to no accuracy, no spare shooting, just put it up on the green and two-putt, get out of here, or drive the green, whatever the case is. And so that was kind of my thing with the bowling balls with urethane, where, and I'll be the first to admit, I'm not good at throwing urethane. I'm awful at it. I've gotten better. I mean, I've practiced a couple different times with it. I actually just drilled 2 yesterday because we're going to be bowling on a very short pattern on the PBA Wolf pattern at Parkside in August. I don't know how to throw it the right way. I don't know if it's my ball speed, my rev rate, my tilt, the layouts that I'm using. Could it be the Brunswick ball? It's not conditional to what, Ebonite's hammer, purple ball, and black ball have been very good. Storm's pitch black and natural have been good. So we consistently at Brunswick could talk about this. I mean, I can't tell you how many text messages I have with our R&D department of what do we got to do differently and how many times we test to figure out what's right and what's wrong. So I would love to see it be eliminated because of what it does to the lane. It just completely destroys it front to back. But you have to adjust to it. Not everybody's throwing urethane. There's 15 to 20 guys, but when it starts to be half the field, it changes the game quite a bit. And it's the same thing, though, back in the 80s and 90s when resin came out and they were like, well, resin's going to ruin the game. Well, it is what it is. And some guys have said, probably didn't have to ever get rid of it. They probably could have kept it. And it would be a lot more easy to adapt to, I guess, because I would have thrown it, but I haven't thrown it in 15 years, if not ever.
What is it about urethane that doesn't work for you, Sean? Is it that it just doesn't go through the pins the right way, or what's the problem?
Well, I can get it to go through the pins once I hit the pocket. That's not the problem. It's just it just doesn't match my eyes. The shape of the lane, most urethane hooks in the front part of the lane and then it kind of lays off. I like to throw it so hard that I never get to see the ball shape.
Sure.
Something that I focused on yesterday is one of the things that Billy said to me at Brunswick was, and Mike Dole was like, and that's Billy Orlikowski and Mike Dole who works for us. They were like, you're throwing it way harder than you are when you're throwing a resin ball. And I'm like, I am? Like, okay. So it's just something that, like I said, it doesn't fit my eye. I'm not a big fan of it. It's not going to go anywhere until somebody says, okay, no more urethane, which I would be completely okay with. But it basically helps the ones that don't know how to throw resin or lower their rev rate or are very good shot makers. And people are going to judge me by that, but because urethane gives them that room for error. So now they become more adaptive to what they're bowling on and their swing gets looser. So I don't think we need it personally, but it's, like I said, it's part of the game. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. And we could talk about patterns all day long. It'd be nice for us to bowl on multiple patterns instead of watching guys come in and stand at fifth arrow and throw it over there until it gets there. So.
Do you want to see more variation in pattern? Like,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
would you like to see?
Yeah, I mean, if you've looked at what the tour has done for the last 5-6 years, it's been pretty much the same, and you've seen the same domination from the same type of players for the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years to a certain extent. So the high rev and the high ball speed, and it goes back to the same thing with golf. When golf started to change the length of fields and putting bunkers in and ponds and trees, it was because Tiger was so dominant, and Tiger dominated. It wasn't going. I mean, he does like to play the same courses over and over, but they were changing their golf course because they wanted a variation to see if he would still dominate. Well, that's how you get a Tiger Woods in our sport. Who's our Tiger Woods? Right now, it's Jason Belmonte. I mean, he's won 4 Player of the Years in the last 5 years. More than likely going to win again this year, but I'll be the first to admit it, and there's other players that have said this that won't go on record because they're too scared. But when you get to go in and stand at 30 and loft the left gutter, game 4 to 8, and you get to do that for 5 games, you're going to be very comfortable. And he's in his comfort zone. And it's not his fault because he's not the one pressing the button.
Right.
But players are going to blame him because, one, we're jealous because we don't get to do that, and we don't get to play our A game and whatnot. So people are going to say that I'm just saying I'm jealous of him. Well, hell yeah, I'm jealous of it because I don't get to play my A game every week, and Walter Ray's jealous of it, and E.J. Tackett, even though he can play fifth arrow, he would like to play his A game, and so would Chris Barnes, and the list of players goes down the whole thing. So that's where you want to see the variation of patterns in distances and shapes. You're also going to see a dominance of balls go down the lane because one company has more players than the next company and the next company and so forth. So, we call it bullets in the gun. Storm's got 50 bullets in the gun every week, and Ebonite and Motive have 30 and 20, and Brunswick's got 10 to 15. Our odds of having more success are less because of
Just don't have that many.
just don't have the people.
It's just numbers.
And it's plain and simple. And you could have 15 Sean Rashes versus 50 different Jason Belmontes and Kyle Troops and Simonsons. You're still not going to beat them. And we've got a great staff, but when we have to match up and take advantage of our opportunities, like I did with the doubles with Matt, I bowled really good in Lubbock and won all my matches to be the number 1 seed, and unfortunately lost. So, like I said, variation would be nice. We have multiple patterns, but after game 2, they all kind of get very similar, where they need to stay sporadic and different to where you have that variation, to where the straight players can dominate 1 week.
Got it.
And then the tweeners can have a week, and then Belmo can dominate for the next 5 or 6. I don't mind us having a Tiger Woods if it's going to generate TV ratings and sponsors from outside sponsors and fans and everything else. But we don't have a Tiger Woods that does that.
Right.
And our sport has unfortunately never had that person do that. One day I think it will change. I think the deal with Fox Sports has grown significantly. The ratings this year have been great. We've had some monumental milestones with Belmo winning 2 majors, getting to 11, Simonson winning his second at 22, and now our deal with you guys at Flo, having more exposure week in and week out, more cameras, more interviews with players like myself and Ebonite stars and Motive stars and Storm stars. Our exposure is growing, but we also have to be able to reach that fan base a different way.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes total sense.
And I will say that I give Sean a lot of credit for being able to speak his mind and telling it like he is. Hey, you and I are friends. You speak your mind. There's never any question where you are on things. You're not afraid of being politically correct. And I wish more players were like you and spoke out and said what they actually believe instead of, worrying about repercussions or whatever else.
Well, I don't think I've been fired yet, so I haven't seen my phone. No one's called me yet.
I don't see anything in the comments.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about Tom Clark and Kirk Von Kruger, my bosses at Brunswick, Genesis, Mongoose, and High Five, and AOC saying, okay, we no longer need your services. But no, you've got players in every sport that speak their mind. Some are listened, some are heard, some aren't. I think, unfortunately, my voice is heard more because I have a little bit of a resume. You know, I've had some success on the tour since I've started. For example, I love Ryan Schaefer. I think he's a great human being. He means well and he speaks his mind, but he doesn't get the credit he deserves sometimes because he doesn't have the long resume of 10 plus titles or majors or a player of the year. This guy is, in my mind, a Hall of Famer, and he's put a couple guys in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, he's finished second 6 or 7 times in majors. He's one of the grindiest players our sport's ever seen, but he doesn't get heard because of his opinions being so honest and brutal sometimes. Yeah. And mine are the same way, but at the end of the day, I really don't care what anybody thinks until my sponsors say, hey, look, we need you to calm it down a little bit, or the PBA says, hey, please shut up. And I've been that way. I can tell you multiple times through my career, I've been pulled aside and say, hey, look, we need you to do something different or speak it a different way. And my honesty gets, I don't think through things sometimes. Like right now, I could keep going about the two-handeds and urethanes and the patterns and what I would like to see different. But instead of being critical, I want to be positive.
Right.
Like I said, I'm being critical, but at the same time, Fox has been huge. FloBowling has been huge for us. We've had some life-changing moments this year, and I'm looking forward to what the summer swing tour has for us.
Yeah, let's talk about the summer swing.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Because it's in your backyard. It's at the same event, the same center that the Parkside Lanes were that you hosted. So you're hosting this year. It's the FloBowling PBA Summer Swing. It's a mouthful, but it'll be live on Flo. You're running a free youth clinic. You're hosting. Talk about all that.
Yeah. So the PBA Summer Swing ends the tour season realistically altogether, besides the U.S. Open at the end of the year, but the entire PBA Summer Swing is a culmination of 7, 8, 9 events that, like I said earlier, you qualify for China, the FloBowling special event in September, the USBC Cup, multiple titles up for grab, multiple patterns, a field of 108 players at Parkside Lanes in Aurora, August 24th to the 31st. So there's so much involved. You can't miss an event going up to it because you want to be able to chase these points.
Right.
And if you bowl for a living like I do, you want to be in the top 8 again. So that's like my next bucket list is, it doesn't matter if you're 1st or 8th, you want to be in that top 8 for China and the FloBowling because there's extra TV exposure, FloBowling exposure, money. I mean,
money
is
the
good.
Obvious.
And titles up for grabs, right? So when Tom asked me to see if Parkside would host it, it was a no-brainer. Absolutely, I'd love to. And then it came down to what else can we fit into this event. And last year, we put in a golf outing and a barbecue. This year, we're still going to have the golf outing for our sponsors. And then we got an unbelievable pro-am on that Saturday night, the 24th. But one of the things I'm more excited about than anything is Sunday, the August 25th free youth clinic from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock before practice session that night. 27 coaches minimum, but Ebonite helps me, Motive helps me, Storm helps me, and Brunswick helps me, where we get coaches from every brand, because as a kid, you might be a Sean Rash fan, but you're also an E.J. Tackett fan,
Sure.
and a Jason Belmonte fan, and Kyle Troop, and Dominic Barrett. You want to see players from other staffs. And I've hosted many Brunswick camps, and we've had a lot of success, but they want to see those other stars that, I was given the nickname of used to be on TV for a while because I didn't make a show for a year. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind that. But they want to see the guys that are on television all the time. I don't blame them. Those are your idols and your heroes and your stars. So I just want to say a big thanks to those 4 manufacturers for helping ask their stars and their players to donate. I mean, they're doing it for free, where realistically I would need $20,000 to $30,000 to pay these guys their daily fee, food and drink and everything else. So
and their time, time's valuable.
Big thanks to the players that have committed already, the ones that helped last year. We had over 120 kids last year. We're 3 months out. We already have 70 kids signed up.
That's awesome.
And I haven't even really pushed it on social media yet. So it'll be a great couple hours. They'll bowl. We had food last year. And I just can't wait for it. I mean, it's one of my biggest things of the year that I look forward to.
Is your daughter one of the kids?
She
old enough?
Yeah, she's definitely legally, no.
Okay.
I mean, we try to keep it, 7, 8 at the youngest
Yeah.
because of the attention span, and it's so long.
Sure.
You can only have so many people per pair to stay loose and actually work on something at the same time. But we'll probably go through some shifts this year where if some people want to come in that didn't sign up early, like, hey, just kind of watch, and then because you can't just bowl for 3 hours straight.
Yeah.
I know I can't. I mean, I hate it. Our blocks on tour right now take 4 hours, and it's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And that's partially because, and I'm some to blame at it, we're on our cell phones too much. We were pushed to be on our phones to keep social media active, and now I've actually stepped away from it, even though at times I get bad. But if we eliminated the cell phone things, our blocks would be 3 hours long instead of 5, and we'd actually be able to eat at a normal time.
Yeah.
But no, going back to the youth clinic, it's she bowls every now and then. She'll practice with me, but she's into ballet and gymnastics and soccer, and just started playing golf, which I'm excited about because now I can actually go outside. And she tans and I don't. So, yeah, no, it's going to be a great day. So August 25th at 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it's free. 27 of the best coaches in the world, maybe some more. Some other players want to hang out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, big thanks to the manufacturers helping make this happen.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid in league, and the big timers would come in and we get to bowl with them, and it was I still remember bowling with Parker, and when I saw him again at Bowl Expo last year, was like I ran up to him and I was like, hey, I bowled with you like 20 years ago, and I still remember it. So like it's a big deal for these kids to get to do it, and it's a big deal, like you mentioned, these bowlers, these pros just give their time. Like you said, it would be $20,000-$30,000. Like you guys just give your time. You give 3 hours, and it does hopefully it does a lot for the sport and does a lot for these kids.
Well, it grows the game in that immediate area.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to drive in from Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, anyone, Iowa, you want to fly in, come on out. Like I said, it's free. Just find your hotel. There's plenty of those around.
Yeah.
And it's the end of the summer swing. You got 3 big events that Monday through Saturday, and a lot of great bowlers are going to be there. Weather should be a lot better, knock on wood, than it was last time.
Yeah, the
since
humidity,
it was so hot.
man. Yeah. It's a better time of year, right?
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah.
A month later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made it a little cooler. But if you can't be there, you can watch it live on FloBowling. You can watch the whole summer season live on FloBowling, qualifying, match play, finals. I think there are 8 or 9 events. Lucas, correct me if I'm wrong. But next we're gonna see you playoffs
Against Dom Barrett.
You have Dom. It'll air on Monday. No spoilers. Don't tell us what happens. But maybe tell us what your thought was when you knew that Dom was going to be your matchup. Like, what is there a way that you?
Yeah, so Dom and I have actually become pretty close friends. We've done a lot of clinics overseas together, in the UK, in Germany, in Asia. His wife Cassie just had their first child 10 days after we had Olivia Colby, so 10 days apart. They came, Cassie and Colby came over for a couple weeks in January, February time zone, and actually stayed at the house with us. Kind of let them kind of get used to the time frame and everything. So we've become really good friends. We talk quite often. And I was like, okay, I got to bowl a good friend. And I was like, and it's one of those things now where, hey, let's put on a good show. That's what it's all about, is let's put on a good show. And I can tell you it's pretty exciting.
It's a good show,
games.
folks.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. Monday on Fox, international viewers, we have it live. Lucas, you have anything else for Mr. Sean Rash, the one and only?
No, I don't, but it's going to be an exciting summer season coming up. And, I'm looking forward to – I'll be out there in Lubbock, and we'll be providing a lot of coverage all summer long for you guys on FloBowling.
Huge thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Huge thanks. It's good to see you again.
I'm ready to have that beer that was in the fridge here at Flow Sports.
Oh yeah, well,
or I shouldn't say that. It was outside. It was at the bar next door.
No, it's totally fine. We get Wednesdays are our happy hour nights. But we're gonna get him some beer. But yeah, good luck. I
gotta win.
Good luck against Dom on Monday. But good luck with the rest of the season. For sure, and we'll be looking forward to you. You'll see Lucas, and hopefully I'll be out there. And
yeah, you need to come to Aurora. That's the one you got to come to. I mean, all of them are great hosts. We started in Lubbock with they already hosted one event this year. Then you got the Lucy. I'll just name them real quick for you.
Yeah.
And then you got Virginia. They were extra frame stop a couple years ago. Then we go to North Carolina again, back to Delaware, which I've had some success there. Go to Ohio, which everybody loves Ohio, and then we finish up with me. So a lot of great places, a lot of great hosts, and very excited about what the Summer Swing and FloBowling have to offer.
He just ran it down for you. I don't think Lucas and I can say it any better than he did. That's why he's big time.
Yeah, it was big time.
Nah, still big time. Thanks everybody again. Huge thanks to Brunswick and Sean for coming in, and hopefully you enjoy some Austin again.
I
Lucas,
hope to be here in September. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, you want to be here for sure. It's gonna be rowdy and raucous. Lucas, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure. And thanks again, guys. Until next time.
See ya.